everyone. Welcome to my show, Curryupstartup Leadership Podcast, a podcast to spotlight purpose-driven Asian leaders making an impact. This is your host, Priyanka Komla, joining you on our 98th episode of Curryupstartup Leadership Podcast. As usual, a big thank you to all your encouragement and support as we ace our 100th episode soon. So keep watching us by following me, Priyanka Komla, and a Curryupstartup Leadership Podcast page on LinkedIn to receive our LinkedIn Live notifications. And if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe to help us understand how this podcast is helping you become a better version of yourself. All right, I have a special guest of ours joining us from Baltimore here on the East Coast of United States, I should say, Maryland. And here we go. We have Sathya Elumalai, who is the CEO and entrepreneur, joining us. Hey, Sathya, welcome to the show.
Hi, Priyanka. Nice to see you here and very excited to join the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sathya. Sathya is an amazing entrepreneur, and I'm super excited he's taken the time to be with us today. So let me tell you what this episode is going to be about and a little bit more about Sathya Elumalai himself. He's the founder and CEO at Aidar Health, where he developed a revolutionary tricorder-style rapid health assessment device called the Mouth Lab and a digital medicine platform for improving clinical trials and patient healthcare outcomes. He's an official member of the Forbes Business Council, ambassador at PCORI, and an advisory board member at Rutgers University. He has over 15 plus years of experience in healthcare and holds a dual master's degree in public health and an MBA from the Johns Hopkins University. As a proven leader, he has driven large-scale digital transformations in healthcare. And what better way than to bring him onto the show to help us understand more about his revolutionary healthcare device and also the fun side of Sathya. Hey, Sathya, welcome again to the show.
Thanks, Priyanka. As I said, it's fantastic to be in your show and very much looking forward to talking to our listeners.
That's amazing. So let me start with who Sathya is. As a 15 plus year, experienced healthcare executive who started his journey from Chennai in the southern part of India, all the way to becoming a CEO. As an entrepreneur, how does it feel when you look back, and tell us how you ended up being an entrepreneur yourself?
No, I think, as you said, I'm from Chennai. I spent pretty much all my life in Chennai before coming here. I always wanted to be a doctor and wanted to actually help people in need. But the closest thing that I was able to get to was a biomedical engineer, where I was trying to build solutions to help physicians. And I came to the US, started for my master's, and I ended up doing a couple of masters. But more importantly, I spent a solid 10 years working at Johns Hopkins on the patient safety, patient satisfaction, infection control, and a lot of things to help improve the healthcare of an individual. So, and of course, I worked for another data analytics company after. But throughout this process, there was one thing that was really behind me and trying to help me out is the passion to, or the personal need to help my mom. My mom has multiple chronic conditions, and since almost like for 10, 15 years, I've been seeing her going through this challenge. And 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, I thought, okay, I think this is the time I really wanted to build more like a communication tool to help communicate what's happening with my mom's health with me and also with my physician. And that's when I met my co-founder, Dr. Gene Friedman, who's a genius, somebody who I really look up to. We got together and then created a solution. Initially, it started off to help my mom. But later on, we realized that we could help millions and maybe billions of people like my mom and millions of caregivers like me to give like better quality of life. So that was a starting point. And again, it feels it's fascinating and it's very exciting to come from a really humble beginning to do what I'm doing today. I'm very fortunate and thankful to my team.
That's amazing. And I love the fact that your entrepreneurship was driven by, a need that you saw within your own family. And I think that's where the best startups come into existence.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every single entrepreneur has a need, has a dream, and that's why people end up starting their own companies. For me, it was, since it was very personal and it's time dependent. That's what really pushes me. Again, if it was something that's going to be a long term value, something that's going to be valuable after 5 or 6 years, I wouldn't be working as hard as I'm working today, because I think I need a solution today, and people like me and who needs a solution today know the pressure in which we work. So I know, I think this is a great opportunity, especially with COVID. Now, whatever we are doing is far more relevant than ever before.
That's very true. If I may ask, what's the best compliment you've received from your mom based on your success so far?
I'm yet to receive one. I think from my mom, it's basically like, I mean, how healthy I am. Am I eating well? That I'm sleeping well. That's all is her key requirements. But I think the biggest compliment that I don't know if she would say, but the day that I would really see her health data coming from Chennai to here in Baltimore in my phone, saying that my mom is healthy and she's doing fine that day, that would be the biggest compliment that I'm really looking forward to.
I hope that's on its way very soon.
Yep.
But I love the
Hopefully.
fact that all Asian parents are the same, right? You're more focused on us rather than our successes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that's totally true.
Right. So, to our live listeners, if you have a quick comment, feel free to drop it in the chat box and do let us know where you're tuning in from so we can give you a quick acknowledgement. And Satya is going to give away a free mentoring session. So, if you're an entrepreneur or would love to know more about healthcare, this is a chance to get that free mentoring session as well. So, thank you all. We have a live listener that I want to acknowledge. We have Nikita Padmar, who's joining us from Chicago. Hey, Nikita, welcome to the show. So Satya, let me ask you this. As an entrepreneur, when you look back at your journey, what are like the top 3 leadership skills or traits that have helped you become very successful so far?
No, I would say I call it the 3 Ps maybe. It's the passion, perseverance, and patience. As I said earlier, like I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. It keeps me up in the night and constantly helps me to work. It's been 6 years since I even worked, because I don't see every day as a work, but it's actually doing something that I'm fun, excited about doing. Perseverance, I think it's you need a lot of perseverance, and because especially working with a diverse set of people coming from different geographics and culture, putting everyone together and then having everyone have a similar vision, identifying such people and working with them is what really excites me every single day. And third thing I think is like really the patience. Oftentimes, I was somebody who had like no patience at all. I mean, I really wanted to do things at in a really short time, but today, from an idea to a prototype, it took 2 years, and then from a prototype to a working device, something that can be commercialized, took almost 6 years. Engineering takes its time. I started to appreciate work of every engineer, but more importantly, having that patience was really key for me. So I think all those 3 things are absolutely essential if you wanted to be successful in being an entrepreneur.
I love the 3 Ps of success, but let me delve a little bit deep into the patience aspect, because a lot of us feel this restlessness where we have to achieve something at a faster pace, but be it engineering or be it even podcasting, it takes time to get that organic growth or that prototyping, the design to the implementation phase. What is something that's worked really well to develop more patience and resilience through this process?
I think it's about not the outcomes. Like oftentimes we will look at the outcome of whatever they are doing, and they wanted to see that outcome at a really short time. For me, it's about the process. Like during the process, what you're learning, that's what is really important. So every day, although I wish I have like maybe $10 million today, so that I can just push the company even faster. But what I really see is like, okay, today, like with 10,000 what I could do. I really start focusing on that. I really look up to small successes and small achievements, and I really believe like those achievements are kind of the building blocks of bigger success. So when it comes to patients, it just I really start focusing on where I could, where I'm making mistakes, and is there anything that I could do from my end to actually speed up the process. If there is none, then I would let karma decides itself. I mean, like, and take its own time. So that's how I've been working on, and pretty much I've been successful 9 out of 10 times. And I believe if there is a need to actually accelerate certain aspect, it also needs like support from the groups. So I'm really thankful that I had a great support system that was really helping me throughout this process. So patience was kind of one of the traits that I was holding on to.
No, that's very true, Satya. And sometimes with the right amount of patience, things just magically happen. You don't have to work too hard for certain things, is what, sometimes you feel about life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it applies to not just business, but also to personal life.
Very true. So let's talk about your entrepreneurial journey with Aidar Health. Can you tell us more about the company, the vision that you have in mind?
Absolutely. No, at Aidar, it was previously multi-sensor diagnostics, but we rebrand to Aidar Health, or it sounds as pronounced as Aidar Health. Basically, it's a healthcare technology and digital medicine company where we aim to reimagine how uh, today clinical trial is conducted, how chronic care management is performed, or in terms of how overall health monitoring involves. So as a solution, we wanted to create a new kind of personalized experience for people with chronic condition and enable the positive health outcomes. That's our ultimate goal. But I think from a vision point of view, one thing that I've been always like passionate about is how can we bring autonomy towards health, right? There's like autonomous cars there's autonomy in a lot of different things, but when it comes to health, we still rely upon a lot of factors. We oftentimes don't have the tools or technology to help us out, and we go to the doctor's office every time when we are sick. So we wanted to create a more proactive care than a reactive care. So for us, what we really wanted to do is like, can we give the tools and technology to deliver a far healthier consumer first experience to every single individual, so that for example, what Netflix has done for movies, like what we wanted to provide a care that is more tailored to an individual. So through that, we can actually enhance the quality of life. So for us, how can we improve outcomes and quality of life is key. So as a part of our solution, we built a single device that measures around 10 different health parameters. It's, I don't know if there are more Star Trek fans in the audience. Like, it's more like a medical tricorder that we wanted to build, so that a single device can actually measure your overall health at a very short time. So that's our goal. And then again, just building a solution and then throwing out a bunch of numbers is not really the true value that we wanted to offer. It's about like, what's the impact, what the numbers mean, and how that numbers can actually help improve somebody's health, and more importantly, empower them to make sustainable changes or behavior changes so that they can get a better health outcomes. So that's our goal. And in order to achieve that, we have a device technology, telemedicine platform that enable exchange and communication between patient, caregivers, providers, and then also a platform that can actually cater to other stakeholders in healthcare. For example, pharmaceutical companies who wanted to accelerate the drug development process, payers who wanted to better manage their patients and their members. So we wanted to offer a whole suite of solutions that is centered around this individual device that measures the overall health. I'll be happy to tell you a little bit more about the device itself.
Well, that was something I'm more excited to learn more about, Mouth Lab. So tell us more about it. And Satya, something that really struck me as you were talking about your vision for the company is you are empowering your end users, like people like you and me, to make certain decisions about where they are on the health curve. And in the era where there's a lot of commercialization of healthcare and medicines, having a device that's really focused on giving a lot of value to the end consumers, I think that's a very unique value proposition. So kudos to you for thinking of us and how we can actually figure out, and our health assessment at our own pace, on demand, very simple to use way. And it's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of Mouth Lab is more like a thermometer, right? When I know my temperature, my body temperature is above a certain a number, I know whether I'm sick or I'm not sick. Something that's as easy as that. So tell us more about Mouth Lab.
No, I think we kind of took a similar analogy as well. So as I was saying, because my mom was going through a lot of challenges, I offered her multiple devices to her. I mean, of course, she takes like maybe almost 10 different drugs for a lot of different things. And on top of it, I gave her like 5 or 6 different devices for her to measure her health every single day, from spirometer to blood pressure to thermometers. So the challenge is it made her sick every single day, and there was a lot of reasons for her to not use the device. And as you may know, like a lot of parents tend to find reasons for not doing something. So for me, it was when I look back, I was looking at like what is something that she used every single day. Was like a toothbrush. So it's an electric toothbrush. She picks up the device, push up the button, and then brushes and put it back once she's done. So we wanted to take a similar approach. So that's why we built this device. So this is our device. Similar to, I would say, a toothbrush. I would say you hold the device and you place it in your mouth and you breathe through normally for 30 seconds. At the end of 30 seconds, you perform lung function test, or which is like essentially inhaling as much as possible and then filling your lungs and exhaling as hard as possible. Once you're done, you can treat this like a toothbrush again, like and wash it and put it back into the charging base. So it's essentially like it's an everyday activity. We wanted to pair one habit with another habit. But the whole point of this device is not just measuring one or two factors, right? Oftentimes there's like false positives. I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends, they go to an ER and then say, hey, my Apple Watch said that I have an arrhythmia or some other challenges. And these false positives can be eliminated by measuring your overall health. So today, Mouth Lab measures 10 different health parameters, from your temperature, your blood pressure, your ECG, oxygen saturation, pulse rate, respiratory pattern, heart rate variability, and lung function. What it means that is it takes into account all the different aspects of your health every single day. And if there's any small changes through what's your baseline, it actually alerts the care providers in real time. So the device also has 4G connectivity. So if you don't have a smartphone, you can still use this device. We have speakers and microphones within the device, which also helps users like my mom to communicate with the device as and when it's required, and also helps us to better manage their health. So what we are doing is once the data is collected, it actually sends everything to, sorry, I'm going to mute it for a second.
Satya is stationed next to John Hopkins University as well as a fire engine station. So he has a very entertaining neighborhood, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are right in the middle of like everything that happens in Baltimore. So it's a fun place to be. So yeah, as I was saying, so we really wanted to build more like it's more like a check engine light for humans, right? Something that you have in a car, you don't keep looking at it every single day, but then one day it pops up saying that, hey, you need to take care of your car. Similarly, we wanted to build a solution that is more robust, something that's easily integrated into the life flow of the users, something that people can use it every single day, and at the same time move on with their life. If there is any abnormalities or any challenges, the physicians will reach out to you. Or we're also building our own command center where we could actually have nurses and healthcare professionals to actually look at the daily data so that we can be the first responders in most of the cases. And if there is an emergency, we ensure that patients or the users are connected to the right kind of intervention at the right time.
I love it as I'm thinking of how this device is going to evolve over the next couple of years. It's very futuristic, not just as a device, but more about the ecosystem that you have in mind
Mhm.
that'll help us feel that we are in good hands, whenever an emergency occurs.
Absolutely. And then also, as I said earlier, I mean, one of the reasons why we decided to like use this device to collect information from the mouth and not just go for a wearable that's like or a patch that is in the body is because we also get access to breath and saliva. So essentially, we're working on a lot of biochemical sensors to perform biochemical analysis of breath and saliva, which is the future. So ultimately, what we really want is to collect the largest digital data set on human health and disease so that we can build an entire infrastructure that is more easy to use and can actually shift the paradigm when it comes to personalized or precision medicine.
That's amazing, and I'm looking forward to your continued success, Satya. And now coming to
Thanks.
the crux of the episode, we have this pandemic happening, this
Mhm.
COVID-19, and I'm looking at you and your mouth lab device. And here's a question from one of our live listeners. There's Jenny from LA. She's a university chair for bioinformatics at one of the universities on the West Coast. She says, really impressed with your work, Satya. Have you or your company designed or thought of designing anything for COVID-19 testing? And I'm looking forward to a exciting answer from you.
No, absolutely. I think when we started actually till the early phases of 2020, we were uh, going through this challenge that people tend to ask us like why so many parameters, and oftentimes people tend to cherry pick and ask me, hey, can I just have the thermometer and the blood pressure in your device so that I pay like 1/10 of the cost of the device, right? But after COVID, we got like close to some 4,000, 5,000 emails within a span of like 2 to 3 months where people were really excited. They wanted to have a device like this at home, and thermometers is not something that's going to be an early detection system. So it is going to tell you if you're sick or if you have fever or if your temperature. So for us, that was a starting point, and today everyone goes to the hospital when they know they are sick, or they don't know when they are asymptomatic, so they end up infecting others as well. So there were a lot of challenges, and we reached out to the FDA, and even the FDA was very excited to understand, like, hey, here's a device that could actually really help people at home. So for us, that was a starting point. So, for example, some of the early signs and symptoms involve like fever, cough, shortness of breath can be measured using our device, like through the thermometer. We have acoustic sensors that measure the coughing pattern, and respiratory flow morphology helps you to understand the shortness of breath. And as also the progressive signs and symptoms like changes in the lung functions can be measured using our lung function tests, and SpO2, which is a very important parameter that a lot of people have used during this time. We can measure SpO2 as well, and then basically, if
And what
there
does it
is
stand for, Satya? If you can just expand it
uh,
for our listeners.
blood oxygen saturation, yeah, arterial blood oxygen saturation. So essentially that, and a lot of changes that happens within the ECG rhythm. So we capture the ECG rhythm. So we can also look into what are the abnormalities associated with the different curves. And more importantly, it also measures your heart rate and heart rate variability. So essentially, a combination of all these different parameters weighted based on their priority, weighted based on somebody's health condition, it would be a most reliable test that anybody can use. So we were very fortunate to receive a National Science Foundation SBIR grant last year to actually build a surveillance system for monitoring COVID patients at home, and also for monitoring patients with complex chronic conditions. So we were successfully able to build that solution, and we are fortunate to have the entire end-to-end solution today that can be used for monitoring patients with complex chronic conditions as well as patients with COVID. We are also planning to start a study at the Johns Hopkins Medical Institute. We are a spin-off company from Hopkins. So we're working with our partners to actually put this device as a part of at-home care so that we can identify not just the impact of COVID on people's health during that short time, but also the long-term impact of it. We're also talking to pharma and vaccine manufacturers to actually put this device as a part of post-market studies where we really look into what's the baseline of the individual before vaccination, and then what really alters, and then if there's any challenges that people are going through. Because some of these changes are very subtle, and oftentimes it's not captured using one or two parameters and requires a device like what we have.
That's very fascinating, and congratulations on your breakthroughs as well. We have an interesting question from one of our live listeners. If you're willing to share this, it's from Purandar Gimire, who would love to know: is this affordable for people in terms of your price point?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'd be happy. I mean, people can reach out to me. We can absolutely talk about it. In most cases, we wanted to get this device at a low cost or no cost to the end users, because if you have an insurance, then basically we wanted to have this covered under insurance. If you're 65 years and older, then definitely CMS could be able to, or Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. There are a lot of reimbursement codes associated with this that can be used to cover. But also for people like me, right, or people who really wanted to use a solution, it's far cheaper than any of the solutions that is going to be out in the market. For us, it's not about making millions, it's about impacting millions of people's life. So we wanted to make sure that there are absolutely not just one route, but like multiple routes where we can actually get this device at a very cheaper price, or at no cost to the end users, so that the only concern that they need to have is to, or the only thing that they need to do is to measure using the device every day and not worry about the cost associated with that.
That's very true. And I'm so glad you're looking at the impact to the society. So, making it affordable and empowering people so they can get to know the status of their health just to like the flick of a button. That's very helpful. So tell me this, Sathya, how do you see the future of healthcare in the US evolving in the next couple of years, especially after this pandemic? I think we've taken a hit in terms of the resource availability, and it's been more like a panic system right now. But how do you see this going forward?
I think mostly everything is going to be home-based care. Everything is going to be more digital, right? So, for example, COVID actually disrupted the clinical trial industry today. Like everything is like what was really before was done was like all hospital-based. I mean, even my mom, she had to go maybe like 2 hours sometime to be a part of a study. So right now, everything is virtualized. Everything is decentralized. And there are a lot of hybrid models that have been also evolving where users can go for one or two visits, but then most of the other visits are done at the user's home. And there are companies that are actually sending entire PCR kits and also people to go home to perform studies or collect information from the users. I think even the telehealth has significantly improved. A number of reimbursements associated with telehealth also significantly grew last year, and that is here to stay. And what I mean, it's a standard response, right? A lot of people are talking about it. Oh, this is going to be the next thing, and everyone's going to take care of things at home. But we strongly believe that there's going to be more mergers. There's going to be more partnerships, because as you may know, like Best Buy Health is another entity that's coming up. There's Walgreens, CVS, and every single non-traditional players previously now are in mainstream healthcare. So what we really believe is like the big companies from the Google, the Amazon, and other companies are going to really like contribute towards this digitization of healthcare. And that's going to be the future. And that's why we sit at this point where we can be that bridge that integrates all the different key stakeholders involved, and offer something that's more in a more digestible format for everybody, and not still rely upon increasing the costs, because going virtual means like there should be reduction in costs. So what we really look into, or like what the future is really going to be, is focused on virtual care, focused on care that is delivered anywhere, anytime.
That's fascinating, Satya. And for me, as I'm hearing your story, I love the fact that you have this revolutionary healthcare device and this vision for Aidar Health. But at the same time, you're not just looking at yourself or your company as a disruptor. You're looking at yourself more as a facilitator who can integrate all these different stakeholders in the health ecosystem for the benefit of the end patient. So I think that's a very lofty goal, and it's going to be interesting how all these big key players like Amazon might end up creating more innovation in the healthcare ecosystem.
No, I think as I said, it's. I mean, everybody tried. I mean, even Haven Health was like an like a company that was initiated with Amazon, Berkshire, and JP Morgan. But the challenge is it needs some healthcare players as well. So I strongly believe there's the barriers are going to be there's not going to be any more barriers for partnerships, and because like healthcare, like it's almost like 20% of our GDP. So there's more room for additional players to come in, and it's just that finding the right partners and then engaging in a non-competitive manner would be very helpful for, I would say, bringing more innovation into healthcare.
That's very true. And I love the attitude that you have in terms of, non-competitive players. So it's for the benefit of the society. But tell me this, Satya, as an entrepreneur, as you're looking at positioning yourself and your company amidst all the disruption and the innovation that's expected to happen in healthcare, what keeps you up at night? What's always in the back of your mind?
I mean, I think for me, the challenge of, again, we work with very limited funds. We work with a very small team, but I'm what's something that really keeps me up is like the potential of the solution, and then there's the people that are waiting to get such a solution. For me, it's the ability to do a lot more with the device, and then having not launched yet makes me like really cringe at times, where like, hey, here is a solution that could be and should be in the hands of consumers every single day, that or every single individual should own one. So for us, it just really pushes me towards getting that product in the hands of the consumers. Really, I mean, even today, I get calls. My mom lives on the other side of the world, but I get a call in the middle of the night, and the first thing that hits me is like, I don't know what's happened to her. So that's the fear. I live with the fear every single day, and there are caregivers like me who live with that same fear. So can I make an impact in their lives? Can I like at least give a peace of mind for them, knowing that their loved ones are happy and healthy, is what really pushes me and keeps me up in the night.
And that's something that most of us can resonate, as Asian Americans who have extended family and parents living in a different part of the world, but you still want to keep track, monitor their health, from another country. So I'm so glad you're thinking through and creating a lot of, ways in which caregivers can have that peace of mind. I really love that statement of yours.
Yeah. And even in the US, I strongly believe almost 70% or more of people who are 65 plus or 70 plus, they live alone. They often don't have anybody to support or around. So even though their like loved ones are in different parts of the country, it's far more challenging. So I think that's where I feel like here is a solution that resonates with a lot more people, and there's no barrier, there's no culture barrier, there's no geographic barriers, there's no I would say like rich or poor. I mean, everybody has the same challenge, right?
Right, and there's no technological barrier, something that's very simple to use and intuitive that removes
Yeah.
that hesitation in the minds of users to use another new device.
Absolutely. I think oftentimes I had challenges with my mom wearing a blood pressure cuff, and she oftentimes finds it very difficult if she's alone. It's impossible for her to measure. So that's where our device could be like, even for that one aspect, it'll be very helpful. So that's what we wanted is like, can we simplify health to all the users?
And you are doing it. So thank you for that. But tell us this in a very candid perspective, Satya. When you have setbacks, as you mentioned, you have
Hmm.
this fear about being a caregiver or the device
Hmm.
not reaching its potential consumers in a faster manner. How do you handle these setbacks and low moments in your life?
I would say like I'll just recap on other things that could have gone wrong, right? I think there are so many other things that could have gone wrong, but more importantly, when I was in a even more lowest moments in my life where I was jobless at times. I didn't have like visa. I had to go back to India and then come back again. So there were a lot of challenges that we go through. I mean, especially being an entrepreneur is or starting a company in the US, not being a citizen is a huge challenge. So for me, I just really look back at all those moments where I had challenges, and today, like I'm able to run a company. I'm able to have like a huge, fantastic, and inspiring group of people. That really keeps me pushing. And sometimes I mean, or most times I tend to listen to stories of entrepreneurs and failures and successes. Kind of inspires me, and music helps me in a lot of different ways as well.
Music is soothing no matter the challenge that you're facing.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So we have a fun rapid fire round for you, Satya. Are you ready for it?
Sure.
Awesome. So as an entrepreneur, I'm quite sure you must have got used to these off the cuff pitches. So here you go. You tell me the first thing that comes to your mind when I say the following in one word,
Okay.
wherever
Okay.
possible. Who's your role model?
I would say maybe Elon Musk and APJ Abdul Kalam. I have two role models for two different reasons.
That's amazing. What does happiness mean to you?
It's about the ability to do something meaningful in somebody else's life. I think, and then the power of giving, right? I mean, oftentimes it doesn't have to be money. It's about time. It's about the encouragement or doing something.
How do you define success?
I think like when I say success or defining success, like I mean I'm not a big fan of Churchill, but I love this one quote from him which talks about like success involves like going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. I kind of follow that, and today I'm very happy after going through so many failures. I'm still standing.
That's very true. Keeps you going. So
Yeah.
tell me this fun side of Satya. What's one fun thing that you can share with our listeners?
Oh yeah, I think most of my team knows, but not a lot of people, I guess. I was an introvert all my life, maybe till 25 years of my life. But actually, dancing changed me. Like I started learning a lot of dance forms, so I love dancing. But something that nobody else knows in my team also is like I tend to paint a lot. But unfortunately, I have not done anything in the past 6 to 7 years.
Those are kind of nice rituals, right, that you practice to just get your creativity or innovation or just your stress outside of your system.
Yeah, absolutely. I think dancing definitely helps.
I know. All right. So the last question to you, Satya. What is your native language and one word to describe yourself in that language?
My native language is Tamil. I mean, I don't know. I was trying to see, I cannot think of something very simple that people can resonate, but maybe even the company name, right? I think Aidar actually stems from a lot of different things. I said it says Aidar Health, but actually it means in Tamil, it means it's taken from a root word like adara or like empathy. I really believe in empathy. And it also means like evidence, right? I mean, I believe in evidence. I believe in things that I can see. I can just believe on. So Aidar is or Aadar, whatever you can call it, like that could be something that really talks about me. But ambitious is a nice word that I could use.
I see you, Satya, as someone who's ambitious, but at the same time very approachable, who's thinking beyond himself. And I think focusing on healthcare, which is the true epitome of helping humankind continue to lead happy, healthier lives. I think that's very crucial for us. So kudos to you on your continued success, and we wish you all the very best as you become the entrepreneur that you have set yourself to become.
No, thank you so much. I think this is a fantastic opportunity, and I mean, it's not like we didn't talk about a lot about healthcare, so which is good. It's more about like in general about what we can do and what we are up to with our company at Aidar Health. I'm really excited and fortunate to be a part of this, and hopefully would love to engage with all the listeners offline as well.
Thank you. That's amazing. And we wanted to provide a different flavor of Satya to our listeners so they get a chance to understand a little bit about healthcare, mouth lab device, and how COVID has revolutionized, some of these achievements of yours so they can be more aware and enlightened. So thank you for that. Do you have any parting thoughts before we wrap up our episode today?
No, I'm really I'm really excited, and more excited for you as well. I mean,
Thank you.
I heard that you're reaching your 100th episode, which is phenomenal. I don't know, like most people don't achieve that feat too early, and it's a nice thing that you are able to talk to innovators, like 100 of them, right, or 98 right now. So you have learned a lot of lessons from them. I'm very jealous about this journey, but I'm thankful that I was able to be a small part of your journey. So definitely looking forward to listening to your future episodes, and also please feel free to reach out, and anyone who's listening and watching this YouTube live, reach out to me if you can contribute in a small way, because I think we have achieved something that is unheard of. Oftentimes companies have taken like maybe 20-30 million to reach where we are today, but we have achieved through a little over $2 million, and then with a very small yet like passionate team, and going from nothing to actually like now have a validated regulatory cleared product is a huge achievement. And I really would love to continue to share my thought, and if there's anyone who's listening want to be a part of it in a small way, please do reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn, or my email address is info@aidar.com, AIDAR.com. Please reach out. Look forward to hearing from you all.
Thank you so much, Satya. But before I let you go, I have a burning question at the back of my mind.
Sure.
As an Asian, as a person of color, as an entrepreneur in this country, has this ever been a challenge in terms of achieving your dreams or your aspirations?
I think, as I said, I mean, the biggest challenge is like starting a company here, like being, if you're not a citizen, there's a lot more challenges. I know a lot of people who are very passionate, but I think I don't know if somebody would have like, I would say like taken an opportunity. Of course, it would be a nice thing to be here in this company, be different from others, but personally it was a rewarding experience. I think it's an American dream, right? Everybody talks about American dream. For me, I was able to I mean, maybe fulfill that to a small extent, but hopefully going forward, I don't think people who have faced any challenges, I don't think it's going to be a burden anymore. Anybody can achieve anything, especially in this internet world, right? I mean, it's digital world.
That's very true. I'm so glad you've ended it on a positive note that nothing can be a barrier if you've set your eyes on your end goal. So thank you so much for that, Sathya. And to our listeners on this 98th episode of Curryupstartup Leadership Podcast with Sathya Elumalai, the CEO of Aidar, the one key takeaway that I really loved from this episode is patience. It's a virtue, but it has tremendous results if you're able to embrace it as part of your life, be it personal, professional. So thank you so much on that optimistic note. And we wish you all the very best, Sathya, as well. And for our listeners, we're going to keep that free mentoring session open. So if you're watching this on replay after the end of the broadcast, feel free to drop in a quick comment in the chat box saying you want this mentoring session with Sathya, and we'll make it happen as well. So thank you so much, Sathya, and thanks for your kind words on our episodes and our 100th episode that's going to come soon as well. To our listeners, it's going to be exciting. We're going to have two wonderful co-hosts who are going to take on my episode 100. So stay tuned. And how would you do that? By following me, Priyanka Komla, and a Curryupstartup Leadership Podcast page on LinkedIn. So give us a like if you're watching this episode live. And if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe there as well. And for all our podcast lovers, please give us a like and subscribe to help us understand how this podcast has helped you become a better version of yourself. Until another episode, which is going to happen tomorrow with Jay Shah, who is an amazing machine learning expert. This is your host, Priyanka Komla, signing off from Curryupstartup Leadership Podcast, a podcast to spotlight purpose-driven leaders making an impact. And thank you so much, Sathya, for being part of our show today.
Absolutely. Take care.